What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, y'all. So today it is finally time that we talk medical courier, specifically contracts. Now, if this is your first time seeing any of the medical courier related content from my channel, I highly suggest that you check out the first two videos that I released so you can have a better understanding of the process. So the first video that I did was just the standard laying the foundation, where I briefly went over every single step. The second video was how to obtain your certifications. And now today, like I said, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to land a contract. So today I'm going to go over a few methods that you can use to land your first medical courier contract. So the first method you can use is by simply networking. And networking can mean a few different things. Start talking to people, start asking questions. If you happen to be at a medical facility, so maybe a pharmacy, a hospital, a clinic, any of those facilities, ask some questions. Maybe you can ask a pharmacy, for instance. You can ask them, hey, do you guys use a company like MedSpeed or someone else? You know, just to get a little bit of information as far as what companies you can reach out to directly. And like I said, same thing with the clinics. You know, if it's a clinic where you would go and get a blood draw, they might use a company like LabCorp, for instance, where they transport specimens. So just asking general questions, trying to figure out who they work with so you can go ahead and contact them and see, hey, you know, they might have a contract available. You can also join different groups on social media, like Facebook, for example. I'm part of a couple different medical courier groups on Facebook, and I usually check in from time to time just to see what everybody's talking about. Mostly it's going to be people asking, how do I become a medical courier? What are the steps? But you actually might find some people who are willing to drop some gems, like different companies that you can look for. Maybe there's a representative of a company that's looking for drivers. So keep an eye out. You'll never know what you might find in these groups. You can also find local job fairs, workshops, maybe some seminars, just to connect with people in your area to figure out what's going on locally. This might be a good opportunity for you to make a business card so you can actually start passing them out around to different people, just to get your name out there. Now, the next method you can use is actually the gig apps. There are actually some gig apps that do have medical courier related gigs. So some examples are Airspace, Drop Off, Spark with the pharmacy pickups, Roadie with the pharmacy pickups, and I've also seen Roadie with some pharmacy routes as well. Now, majority of the gigs that you will get off of these apps are just going to be a one and done type of deal. Now, with Drop Off, you might be able to get a dedicated route that you can continue to do for a period of time. Shout out to Cars and Cribs, because I was actually watching him do his routes on the Drop Off app. He would have a route where he would pick up test kits from, I think, either CVS or Walgreens, and he would go and deliver them to the airport. Now, you're probably not going to find routes like that anymore, but they do have a variety of different types of routes that you can get into. If anything, I would say use the gig apps as practice so you can go ahead and get more comfortable with handling either specimens or medications. Now, this next one, this is where it gets serious. And I actually got my laptop here to go ahead and give you all of the details, because we're going to go ahead and go through this together. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and go through this together. So there are a couple of different websites that you can use to apply for contracts. So I'm going to use Indeed for an example, but you can use Indeed, ZipRecruiter, CB Driver, USPAC. There's a couple of different websites that you guys can use. But like I said, for this purpose, we're just going to go ahead and use Indeed as an example. So you just have to search for medical courier, courier driver, just things along the lines of that. So some of the tags that some of these job descriptions that they're using, they may not all fall under medical couriers. So try to switch it up a little bit, just do a couple of different searches. But just as an example, I'm searching medical courier in Illinois. So you can go ahead and see a couple of different jobs here that they have listed. Also, you'll probably want to go and set contract unless you're looking for a full-time or part-time job. Now, you can go ahead and leave it blank, because sometimes whoever posts a job, they might not necessarily put it as a contract. So it's up to you how you want to go ahead and refine your search. But you can go ahead and refine all of that there. So the first one that pops up here, we have medical delivery service provider. So this is T-Force Logistics, and this is in Burr Ridge. So depending on the listing, they actually might be pretty detailed in as far as what you're going to have to do. They don't always, but you know, you can just go ahead and see the description here. Actually, let me back up, but it shows job details here. This is a contract. the shift and schedule they have every weekend, Monday through Friday. So some companies, they'll give like a little brief description about the company, and here's some information about what you're going to be doing. So they have afternoon, overnight routes, Saturdays needed, no earnings cap. So you can do this in a car. That's another thing. They'll go ahead and let you know what type of vehicle that you need. Sometimes you need a car, sometimes you need a van. They'll go ahead and let you know all of that. Need to be able to lift up to 50 pounds. And this is a 1099 position, like I said, a contract. And this does require an LLC. Now, if you guys remember in my laying the foundation video, like I said, this is why this is important that you guys watch everything in order so you can understand. Some contracts require you to have an LLC, not all of them. So if you don't have an LLC and you don't want to get an LLC, well, this is not going to be a contract that you can apply for. So it is important to, know all your requirements. Sometimes you need certain certs. Sometimes you need an LLC. Sometimes you need a certain level of insurance. This one doesn't seem like there's any minimum insurance that needs to be needed on your vehicle other than, probably your standard insurance. So it'll let you know that if you need to. But you would just go ahead and apply, and I'm not going to go ahead and sign in because, y'all don't need to see all my information or anything. But if you go ahead and log into your account or create an account if you need to, and then you can apply. And that's pretty much it. So you can go and just, like I said, look through a couple of different options that they have here on the side. So like some of these here, these are going to be full-time. They have a few different, here's one. This is an on-demand driver. I think this actually might not be medical courier related. Yeah, this doesn't look like this medical courier related. And you might come across those too as well. So that's full-time, full-time, also full-time. Now this is part-time here. Now, I'm familiar with MedSpeed, and this actually isn't bad. If I had time, I probably would maybe apply for this one. So like this one is $16 an hour, part-time, Saturday and Sundays. So you're technically, an employee, but you're part-time. So let's see. The shift is 5 p.m. to 2, both Saturday and Sunday. They have, training training provided, opportunity for career advancement. Yeah, so that's pretty standard. I'm gonna switch this up a little bit because this is just, I just want you guys to see exactly how everything looks. I'm not trying to go ahead and not show you all the details. So here we go. Here's a contract here. So this is Woodridge, and so this is stat slash backup. So you're probably gonna need to be available. Yeah, they don't have too much. I thought they had a little bit more information. But yeah, this one, you also need an LLC, need to provide that and your EIN to start. Remember we talked about EIN. Here's one for, this is full-time. See, I put contract, but the full-time one is still popping up, but I think they have full-time and contracts. Yeah, they have full-time and contract. This one, you can earn $470 a day, day shift, morning shift. And let's see, route is 475 miles per day. So long distance driving sometimes. It just depends on what you're looking for. So this is in Lockport, 6 to 4. There's a lot of options here. And like I said, this is just for medical courier. So like this right here, where it says people also search. So you can search these tags as well. So if I just do, let's just say courier. I don't want to do delivery driver. I'll just do courier independent contractor and see what I get. You're probably going to get a couple of the same ones. And so, yeah, I'm seeing like, look, they even have drop off on here. Remember, drop off, that's one of the apps. For some reason, they got Red Wagon on here. That's a catering app. Sometimes they do have the apps listed on here as well. got auto parts delivery. So there's a lot of different types of contracts that are out there, not just medical couriers. So if you want to maybe just get your feet wet a little bit, maybe you don't want to go straight medical courier yet, and you just kind of want to get a bit of a feel for, you know, just having a contract in general, you could probably apply for one of these contracts. So, you know, simple things like this. Like I said, this is Indeed, and you can go ahead and define your or refine your search as needed. But yeah, the next thing I want to go ahead and get into here is going to be the resumes. So some of the contracts may actually require you to present a resume. Not all the time, it just depends. If you can, I would suggest just creating a very simple resume. You know, it ain't got to be extravagant. It doesn't have to list every single detail about your career and all of that, but something that shows like, hey, you know, I have experience as a courier, you know, this is what I bring to the table. So now, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, remember when I said there are gig apps where you can go and do some medical courier gigs, right? This would be the perfect opportunity for you to use those gigs that you have done, and you can present it on your resume. Just so, you know, like, hey, I got some experience with medical. You know, if you just go and put on your resume, hey, you know, I did DoorDash, I did some Uber, Instacart, Roadie, whatever, you know, and that's cool. You know, we all got to start somewhere, but the more medical related, the better. So for myself personally, I have a background in working in the healthcare industry. So I know a lot about HIPAA already. So when I did my resume, I put that I have been working at such and such for X amount of years. I already have the experience in that industry, so that's going to be a plus for me. The other thing that you want to do is make sure you're listing your certifications. I'm just going to go ahead and put an example resume up on screen just so you guys can see. This is just going to be a resume for somebody that has been doing medical courier for probably a little bit. You can do something simple like this. The only thing I would say about this resume is they're missing their certifications, unless I overlooked it somewhere. Usually some people might have like a section on the side or maybe at the bottom for their certs. So if you have your bloodborne pathogens, you have your HIPAA, if you have your TWIC card or a TSA certification, anything along the lines of that, make sure you list it. So some of the skills that you can list here, like this individual did, you know, specimen handling, delivering time-sensitive specimens, medical terminology knowledge, that is definitely important because you definitely need to know how to translate certain terms. So coordinating effective routes, attention to confidentiality, very important, that's HIPAA. Efficient navigation, you know, various things like that. Some other things that I would list, and I'm going to move over to this other example resume. Some things on like this person's resume, they have strong attention to detail, excellent time management skills, customer service, effective communication, problem solving, physical stamina, because depending on the route, you might be, you know, doing a lot of walking. You need to make sure that, you know, you got the stamina for it. So, you know, things like that. Now with this resume, this is a person that doesn't have any medical courier experience, but they do have delivery experience. So for most people, if you're starting off, your resume is probably going to look something like this. You're probably not going to have too much to show as far as experience with medical courier. But as long as you're highlighting those skills as a courier, you know, those are the things that people are going to want to see. Like I said, just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, extravagant. Like I said, you're pretty much just highlighting what skills you have, your experience, all of that. So, you know, keep it simple. So we ain't got to overcomplicate it. But that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, as far as, you know, landing a contract, you know, it might take you a while. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I have been applying for quite a bit, and I had to go ahead and actually put everything on hold. So I'm gonna come back to it once I get my personal matters sorted, and we're gonna get right back to applying. So I know most of the people that have been tuning into the channel, you know, you guys are gig workers. So, you know, if you have the opportunity, try out some of those apps that I mentioned. You know, get your feet wet, get a little practice in, you know, get comfortable, and hey, before you know it, you might be landing your first contract. You never know. But I hope that this does help someone in their medical courier journey. It's a lot. It is a lot to take in. But trust and believe, we're going to take this step by step. I'm going to show you all the ins and outs, everything that you guys need to know. So just stick with me. Stick with me. I got y'all. So stay tuned for the next one. But before I let you guys go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.